Hi, do you play volleyball? If yes, have you experienced having an injury playing sports? What did you do after your injury? Do you think what you did is right? Or if neither you don't play volleyball nor had an injury before, are you curious about the things that you should do to rehabilitate after an injury? Good day. I am Paul Pangilinan and with my group, we will show you a brief explanation about rehabilitation of injuries in volleyball, specifically in ankle sprains and wrist injury. To give you an idea how injuries happen, we will start with explaining the nature of the sports, movements, and injuries. So there are 6 basic skills in volleyball, which are serving, passing, setting, spiking or attacking, blocking, and digging. As you can see, playing volleyball does a lot of jumping and hand movements. That is why it is common to have an ankle sprain after you jump and land wrong. Also, to have a wrist injury because of receiving, attacking, and blocking the ball. There is one thing you need to remember when giving first aid for both injuries, and that is RICE. Rest, ice, compress, and elevate. So, after any of the 2 injuries happen, you should rest first. Do not move, massage, or do anything about it. Just let it rest. Then after that is to put a cloth and an ice on top of the affected part. The cloth is to prevent things like ice burn. Third is to compress. So for wrist injury, you can add any stick or hard object and wrap it around to your wrist so your wrist won't move and cause more damage. While for the ankle sprain, you can still apply the ice and wrap a roller bandage to lessen the movement that would also cause more damage. Last is to elevate the injury because it helps reduce the swelling. And that's it. So remember, RICE. Rest, ice, compress, elevate.
Form small alphabet letters with your foot. This exercise helps pump some of the fluid and swelling up out of the ankle joint back to the rest of the body. Put a loop band around both feet. Stretch the foot with it and cross it to the top. This is done to strengthen the foot and improve the muscles that could have been damaged from the ankle sprain. Put the uninjured foot in the air and try to balance with your sprained ankle. When experiencing ankle sprain, our brain lost its ability to know where our foot is. Thus, we can challenge it by improving our balance. Hop with the injured foot but soft landing should be maintained. In doing this, we are re-stimulating muscles at the back of our calf. This is also done to get used to jumping again.
The first exercise is the wrist extensor and flexor stretch. This is done by extending the affected wrist in front and bending it back with the help of the other arm. This stretch relieves muscle soreness in the wrist. The second exercise is the prayer position stretch. This is done by putting hands together, pushing upward or downward. This activates the muscles and increases blood flow. Third is the wrist radial and ulnar deviation. This is done by putting the arm on the table with the palm facing down, bending the wrist from side to side. This exercise increases the flexibility and range of movement of the wrist. Lastly, wrist flexion and extension. With the arm placed on the table, bend the wrist, moving the hand upward and clenching it into a fist. As the hand moves downward, relax the fingers. This decreases the feeling of stiffness or tightness in the wrists.
Today, we will be talking about the 3 fundamental skills of volleyball, as well as some of the drills that one can do to improve these skills. Listed are the fundamental skills needed for volleyball. Serving is a skill that starts the game. It gets the ball to the opponent's side, and having a good serve, attacking their weak points would be an advantage to the team. Meanwhile, attacking and passing skills sets the game in motion. One's form and amount of force play a role into this skill. Lastly, the skill of defense will include blocking, rolling, and sliding to be able to not let the ball touch the floor, go out, or to return the ball to the opponent's court. Overall, failing to master these skills would result into the game's objectives not being met. For serving, the arm toss drill helps improve the hitting arm angle of the players. A good arm angle would make a good serve. Another drill would be the target practice drill to help improve the accuracy of the serve of players. Here, specific targets are set in different positions, and the players must aim their serve to these targets. Accuracy is important as it can be used to the team's advantage by serving at the opponent's weak points. For passing and attacking, the toss-catch drill helps improve the basic passing skills that one should have in the sport. Shuffle steps is another drill that helps improve one's footwork and speed, while 5x5 is a drill designed to improve arm swings of the players. For defense, defensive dig drills help improve both the attacking and defensive skills of the players. Balancing the court is another drill to which a group of defense players is spread out on one side of the court, to which the goal of the drill is to help improve the team's formation in game.
The first thing to do in applying athletic taping on ankle injury is to put an anchor strip, one at the top and one at the bottom. To stabilize the foot by creating a styro piece by applying the tape against the top of one anchor strip, advancing it over the ankle, going over the heel, and ending at the same place on the opposite side of the leg. This should look like a styro. Place another anchor strip over the styrup tape, wrapping about halfway from the start of the last anchor strip. This helps hold the styrup piece in place. Repeat and place an additional styrup piece slightly more in the center of the top part of the foot, going around the ankle and having the tape adhere to another anchor strip. Continue wrapping in this fashion until you reach the bottom of the foot. And after covering the open areas, wrap the heel using a figure 8 technique. Starting on the inner aspect of the arc, bring the tape across the foot, angling down toward the heel. Cross over the foot and ankle, continuing the figure 8 for 2 complete wraps. First thing to do in applying athletic taping on wrist injury is to instruct the person to open their hand widely and keep it that position. Next step is to put 3 anchors of tape at the forearm. And after applying these anchors, the next step to be done is to apply another anchor at the base of wrist and hand. And once this anchor has already applied, make a 3 fan strips of tape to this part in order to restrict the motion. Put one straight strip in the middle. Second strip is from the thumb side to the forearm. And next is cross it with the third strip from the pinky side towards the thumb side. And after doing the fan, you will now secure the wrist taping by applying 3 anchors again on the forearm, and another anchor to the base of wrist and hand to stabilize its position. And it is finally done.